NFL training camp officially here. Biggest story, not just football, but everything that's on the line going into training camp for these NFL teams. Defending champions Seattle Seahawks are trying to become the NFL's first repeat champion in over a decade, but they've lost some key players and coaches. Meanwhile, 5 teams are holding quarterback competitions, including Cleveland with Shador Sanders, Atlanta with Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa, Las Vegas with Kirk Cousins battling a first-round draft pick, rookie and Fernando Mendoza. Added new coaches, stars returning from injury like Patrick Mahomes and Nick Bosa, and veteran free agents still waiting for contracts. Training camp is loaded with storylines. Football is finally back, and the race to week one officially begins. Frank, football is officially back. You got to see the training camps out there. Teams will be starting training camp throughout the week. I'm looking forward to finally seeing some NFL football. And last Sunday was the last Sunday without football for the remainder of the rest of the year. So should be good to have a lot of good football back. But, the biggest storylines entering camp, starting with Seattle as being a team that's trying to be the first team to repeat in a long time.
Yeah, it will not be easy for them. Seattle's lost their offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, along with several key contributors from last year's championship roster, including Kenneth Walker III, Reek Wolin, and Kobe Bryant. Head coach Mike McDonald now has to prove that last season was not just a one-year success story. His new offensive coordinator, Brian Fleury, takes control over the offense. So Seattle, they have a very, very tall task ahead of them and a lot of new names and a lot of new places.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like just down the coast, the Rams, in that division, right? Got to be able to make it through your division if you're thinking about repeating as a Super Bowl champion. The Rams entering camp with enormous expectations. They traded for Miles Garrett and Trent McDuffie. They added Jalen Watson. The Rams have assembled one of the most talented rosters and talented defenses to pair with an offense that features Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. Oh, and by the way, Aaron Donald could be coming back. Sean McVay mentioned he hasn't made his decision yet. Aaron Donald hasn't made his decision about maybe coming back out of retirement for one more Super Bowl run. But Aaron Donald comes back to this team. The Rams are not only the team to beat in the NFC West, they could be the team to beat in the NFC and even in the NFL.
Yeah, and Aaron Donald's held workouts there over the last couple of weeks, so he is very much getting into football shape and getting ready, seeing if he can handle another full season grind after being away these last couple of years. That would be a huge get for the Rams. Wonder how much of an impact he'll make, having been on the sidelines for these last few years. But still, a name like Aaron Donald coming back to that defensive line to pair with Miles Garrett, that is absolutely massive for the Rams.
Quarterback battles, fresh starts. Quarterback competitions will headline training camp around the league. In Atlanta, you got Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa battling for the Falcons' job. In Cleveland, all eyes remain on Shador Sanders as he competes with Deshaun Watson for the Browns' future under center. Raiders will determine whether veteran Kirk Cousins keeps rookie Fernando Mendoza on the bench, while the Vikings have an intriguing battle between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Arizona also enters camp with Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and rookie Carson Beck all competing for the Cardinals starting job. Elsewhere, there's a lot of several veterans begin fresh starts with new teams. But let's just talk about the quarterbacks for a second. These are major quarterback battles by a lot of, I would say, middle-of-the-road quarterbacks that are good enough to win you games in the postseason. I don't necessarily know a lot of these guys are Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks or franchise caliber quarterbacks, but you have competition in a lot of areas. Competition does, breed success, but there are a lot of tough battles in Atlanta, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Arizona, and even Minnesota. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Kyler Murray is going to win that job.
No, I don't think so. And Michael Penix Jr., he's lined up as the quarterback of the future for the Atlanta Falcons, and then you bring in Tua Tagovailoa after what happened with him in Miami. I don't see how Shador Sanders and Dylan Gabriel really stay away from Deshaun Watson just based on take the job away from Deshaun Watson based off of Watson's contract and what Cleveland gave up for him. You're going to have to give Deshaun Watson a chance. So I think that would be the case there. I don't see a world where Fernando Mendoza wins the starting job over Kirk Cousins. I'm one of those guys where you keep guy on the bench for a year, get up to speed, learn, sit under the learning tree for a year.
Especially with that team and the talent that
Yeah,
they have. You're going to get him
exactly.
killed in his
Yeah.
first year. Let Kirk Cousins get killed. And then if you need to put him into action later in the season, you can. But as you mentioned, I think it's a lot. But most of the good quarterbacks in the NFL kind of waited around a little bit to
Hmm.
kind of get their bearings and then set up for success. Let the Raiders draft another bad spot and then get some help for a guy like Mendoza. Arizona, I don't know how they go into camp thinking like Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, or Carson Beck are going to help them.
Jacoby Brissett just
And he just
restructured his
restructured
contract.
his deal,
Yep.
right? He needed a little bit more money. He is on pace, according to NFL Network, to be the Week 1 starter. But I mean, Arizona was really just Kyler Murray anyway, and he isn't necessarily one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He could do a lot of dynamic things. He's small, he takes a lot of hits, and he usually is battling injuries. So he goes to Minnesota, but Jacoby Brissett's been okay in like fill-ins, but him being your everyday starting quarterback, I think, is rough. And then you got Gardner Minshew and Carson Beck. I don't know. I just don't see it in Arizona. Let's move up a little bit. I mean, I know we have AJ Brown in different spot. Jalen Waddle's now in Denver. Malik Willis is getting his opportunity to be a franchise quarterback in Miami. But let's talk about some of the comeback stories and coaches feeling the heat. Training camp's all also about players returning from injuries, and Patrick Mahomes has been cleared after knee surgery and is expected to participate fully. Jayden Daniels is healthy after injuries derailed Washington's season last year, and Nick Bosa and Fred Warner are back in San Francisco after major injuries, giving the Niners hope of returning to Super Bowl contention in what is going to be a very difficult division.
Yeah, and you also have Daniel Jones coming back as well, and that Indianapolis team looked very, very different with him as compared to without him. For Patrick Mahomes, your biggest question is how is he going to feel immediately coming back? Because it might take a second before you start getting back into the swing of things, especially with the injury that he had. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, big additions for San Francisco. Jayden Daniels could be huge if Washington wants to have a successful season this year and potentially make a playoff run. Jayden Daniels is going to be a centerpiece of that.
And he was the big reason why they had success in his rookie year. And then last year, he was not there, and all of a sudden they came crashing down to earth, which just goes to show how important some of the quarterback play is. But looking ahead, what to watch for in the next few weeks as we wrap this up. The preseason, obviously, is not about wins and losses at all. It's about like competition and getting guys set and getting up to speed. And can Seattle prove it's still the team to beat in the NFC? I don't even really think that they are with everything that they lost and what the Rams have gained. Who wins the quarterback competition in Atlanta, Cleveland, Vegas, Minnesota, Arizona? Well, what rookies will make immediate impressions? That's always a interesting storyline. Can veteran stars return from injuries? That return from injuries regain their form, and there's a lot of teams that are relying on guys that are returning from injury. And then don't forget the free agent market. Veterans like Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, Joey Bosa, Von Miller, Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are still available before week 1. And the next month will answer plenty of those questions and create even more.